Kudos.
Yo, what's up, Goo Crew? What's going on, Brett? What do you got for us today?
What's up, guys? Here with episode 2 of the Mindful Mashup. I'm here with producer Keegs today, and
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And we're getting into some combo. So today we're bringing on a special friend of mine named Jaye Siegmuller. She's a successful entrepreneur here in Okanagan, Canada. She's also a holistic herbologist and medicine practitioner. So we're going to dive into combo and what it is, why combo, the ethics around it, and then diving into some questions about it.
You said you got an article you guys are going to be discussing, correct? Or a certain what are you guys talking about? Is there a certain specific item that you're going to be talking about, or is it?
Yeah, so today for Jay, I grabbed an article. I guess it's an informative article from the Third Wave. They do some awesome stuff in psychedelic education, and they've basically done all the research on, not all the research, but a ton of research on combo and brought a bunch of resources together. So we're breaking down that article today.
Nice. I just put that article into the chat if you guys want to follow along and just read it yourselves. I know, Brett, you might be showing that on screen as well. Yeah. You can go ahead and let's bring up our guest, and I'll peace out into the background. If I have any questions, I'll pop back up. Sound good?
Sounds good, man.
All right,
guys. Yay, welcome to episode 2 of Mindful
I'll be back.
Hi, Keegan. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Jay, tell us a little bit about who you are and what led you to combo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, who am I? That's a great question. Trying to figure that out. Yeah. So I've been studying plant medicine for about 12 years now. And like my day job is I'm an entrepreneur. And so I have a couple companies. I have an organic food delivery company. And then my sister and I own a plastic-free shampoo bar company. So I've been super curious about like plant medicine stuff for quite a while. I've done some like plant journeys and stuff like with psychedelics. But how I found combo was I was traveling in Egypt and I had a reaction to gluten, and I'm allergic to gluten, and so it was like my digestive system was a wreck. All of my joints were inflamed. I was in so much pain, and I was traveling with this woman from Colombia, and she suggested I sit with combo. And so essentially what combo is like a frog poison from the Amazon, and it's non-psychedelic, but you put it on your skin and it causes a purge. And it can clear out all kinds of like physical toxins, emotional stuff. So yeah, after one ceremony with the medicine, all of my digestive issues were gone, all of my inflammation was gone. And I was just like, holy shit, like I need to learn this medicine and bring it back to our community.
Amazing. So I probably should have also dove into kind of how we know each other and where we are right now and where you've been practicing the combo. So we met through my mushroom company, Mindful Meds, and now we are partners in crime. And and we're out here in the Okanagan.
Yeah.
So because initially you weren't really thinking of practicing the medicine, it was more for yourself and maybe close people in your network.
Yeah. I never really intended, like I wasn't looking to serve combo or anything like that. I was more just looking for myself and for you and for my friends and stuff like that. But since I brought the medicine back to the community, we've done like 85 combo ceremony and just seen people really transform health issues, emotional issues, spiritual issues. Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
Wow. So I guess like let's break it down. Like when the article that we have posted here, they start to dive into what it is. Like what is combo?
Yeah, so combo is a secretion from the Medusa bicolor frog in the Amazon. It was discovered through an ayahuasca ceremony. So ayahuasca gave the wisdom on how to administer combo, and it was for the tribes in the Amazon because they were getting sick and their traditional medicines just weren't working. So the secretion of the frog is applied to like burns on the skin. So what you do is you burn the top layer of skin and then put the frog secretion on it. And you can do like 2 dots, sometimes as much as 10. I've slapped people with as much as 6 dots before, and then you leave the medicine on for about 20 minutes. You start feeling really hot. You get like, your heart starts pounding, you feel really flush, and then the purge comes out. So you can come out this way or come out the other way, or sometimes both. Which is, everybody's usually pretty concerned about that one. They're like, oh my God, like, am I going to poop myself? And no, that doesn't happen. You're very aware. It's non-psychedelic. So you, like, as you know, right, like you sat with the medicine quite a few times and you're fully aware of your body. You're just like, purging and purging. So that's kind of the short version of it. But spiritually, the medicine goes a lot deeper. Like we really work on it, setting an intention, clearing out, getting to the core of your, what do you want to release? What do you want to let go of? So not only are you letting go of physical stuff in your body, but often those physical things are staying in your body because of emotional stuff that's going on for you. So we can work on like purging those things too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, guys, I didn't mention it earlier, but if you have any questions, we're going to fire them away, or we'll also wrap up with some questions at the end. I got a few here from the community, and actually one of those questions was, will I shit myself? So that's perfect. Not gonna happen.
Honestly, the most common question, they're just like, so like even one of your friends, Brett, when he came and sat with the medicine, he's like, am I gonna have to poop in front of Jay? And that's a common question people get when they sit with ayahuasca too, because they hear about the purge and you just think like, you get into a situation where you don't have control over your body, and that's never happened. So yeah,
and it's hilarious because that's a question I get from especially my friends that are interested and want to talk to you. That's the biggest, like, where is like having something embarrassing happen, but like you say, it's a lot more spiritual and you're a lot more in presence with it than in yourself and in tune to yourself than you actually would imagine. And I know for me, since I was never something I even was in my scope, and when you came back from Egypt, I was like, didn't even have any idea what it was, and didn't even feel needed to do it at first. And then when I did feel drawn to do it, it's been a real impact in my self-work and my journey. It's out of the last 6 to 8 months, I'd say. So spiritual component of it is really amazing. But it's a lot more than just that sitting process too. Hey, what is the process, I guess, coming in preemptively? Like you have to prepare to come into it, and then there's also the sananga and the hape and the intention setting, and maybe we could just kind of break it down.
Sure, yeah. So like if you decide you want to sit with combo, it's recommended that you do 3 ceremonies to be initiated with the medicine. So the first ceremony tends to work more on the physical body, the second one on the emotional body, and then the third one on the spiritual body. And Brett, like you can really attest to the importance of the 3 ceremonies. Like they just kind of start removing the layers one by one. And then, so yeah, to prep for the ceremony, you want to eat a clean diet, stay away from a lot of meat if you can, coffee for sure, sugar no, and definitely no alcohol or other drugs. It's also beneficial if you can get off of any prescription medication at least that morning. Just, we really want to give your body the best chance to be able to clear out whatever it can.
Yeah.
And then, and then you fast for 8 hours before ceremony so that your stomach's empty. Because then when you're puking up, you're not puking up food or anything. So you can really give your body the chance to get all of the things out of the cells. And then so when you arrive, the first medicine that we sit with is sananga. So sananga is these eye drops, and they're made from an Amazon plant. And so you lay back and put one in each eye and then open them up. And Brett, maybe you can describe the sananga experience.
Yeah, and it's I definitely can. Sananga is actually started as something that was maybe a little bit dreading it, but actually has come to be very close to my heart. And so in this, it's an Amazonian root, yes, and then and they pull and it's derived from that. And yeah, so and then the Sananga is a very interesting process because it burns like hell, but it's really what I found in my process was really teaching you to let go. And as you let go, it really takes you outward, and then you start to fall into that intention. You really come spiritually to why you're there and why you're sitting. And as that happens, the pain actually goes away. And I found it to be very less and less painful the more I've sat with it.
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful medicine, hey?
Yeah. And we got a question from Chet the Jet here. Do you have someone guide you through everything?
Yeah, I see that there. Is it you have to have someone? Yeah, they definitely want somebody there. Like even myself, like I've served myself the medicine and I need to have somebody there sitting with me, because what can happen is you can go into what's called frog sleep. And essentially it's a nervous system overload and you pass out. It's actually a gift. You get like a reset of your body, but you just want to make sure somebody's there to catch you and make sure you're okay. So you always want to have somebody there. I wouldn't recommend sitting with combo though without somebody who's been trained in the medicine, because just to how to administer it properly. It's also very spiritually in tune medicine too. So you really want to get clear on your intention and having somebody help you through that process for sure.
Yeah, and this is kind of going a bit all over the place, but something from the article that I really liked was they talk about the ethics and how if you remove the frog from the rainforest and how as this awareness around the medicine grows, we also have to be aware of not overutilizing it and over advertising it and making sure we're getting it from ethical places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super important. I think because it is, involving an animal, involving another living being. But the beautiful part of the medicine that I love, like it's almost like the Amazon has protected it, is that if you remove the Phyllomedusa frog from its natural environment, it stops producing the secretion that creates the medicine. So it can't be farmed or mass produced. And there was that one thing they didn't mention in the article is they started studying combo back in the 80s, and they were starting to try to get funding and this and that, but they couldn't get the funding to study it in depth because it couldn't be patented, it couldn't be recreated on a mass scale, and it had to be done with spiritual practice.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it does definitely feel like it's still being discovered in the sense of how between, it seemed as in the article as well, they discuss how some practitioners say if your intention's not there, you can actually extract it from the frog, and some people say that's not true, but like that I found that very interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really great because a lot of these traditional medicines can be exploited. Like there's some really beautiful plant medicines up here where we live up in Canada, like devil's club or stuff that you actually can't find a lot of information about, because the Indigenous have been very protective because they've seen things like ginseng and like all of these other plants that are very sacred. They get exploited and mass produced, and then suddenly they're everywhere. So I think that it's really beautiful that the Amazon kind of protects it. But yeah, to Sananga. Sananga. So what it does when you start. Sorry, I hope that was okay. Just jump back.
Yeah, no, please do. I was gonna say, I see the question from K-Strap there. Let's maybe break down the process, and then we'll get into how often you can do it and all the other stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, so the Sananga, it kind of clears your auric field. So the drops go in your eye and they really, really burn, and it clears your auric field, decalcifies the pineal gland. And it's very painful. So it causes you to surrender to the pain. So the more you fight it, the more you resist it. If you're like, the more it burns. But if you can breathe into your heart and find that place of stillness and peace, it actually gets like really calming, and you can get really clear on your intention. Some people have some of the most profound moments of their ceremony is in the Sananga. And Brett and our friend did a 21-day dieta, which is like where you sit with a plant medicine every day and develop a relationship with. And so you can actually cure if you have eye issues, like people with chronic eye disease or eye damage. I know our one friend that Brett sat with, she had retina damage. And so essentially she had no depth perception. And after Sananga, she was able to see depth for the first time. So it can be pretty powerful medicine that way. Yeah,
so powerful. Those effects. That's something in the 21-day dieta that was super interesting. I have retina damage as well, and I've found a lot more clarity. I wasn't actually needing my glasses for this last little while, and which has been really fascinating. And it's very powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty good medicine. So yeah, and then you can take those lessons from Sananga into your everyday life. Like if you can find that place of stillness and calm and peace, even when there's a tornado going on around you, all of these things that are happening, there is that place of stillness and calm that you can find, even if you're in pain elsewhere.
Sorry, go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say totally that, something one of many takeaways from the last 3 weeks there was just in my meditation practice now, how what I've learned through that process that it's helped me come to that level of Zen or level of whatever you want to call it, that process a lot easier and that kind of tuning in through the lessons learned in that time period.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so the Sananga, and then after you sit with the Sananga, then what happens?
So then we move into your intention, and people who sit with the medicine maybe have a different process, but this is just my process. So then we move to the intention of the ceremony. So we work together to get you really clear to the root of the thing that you want to move. So you could have this or that going on in your life, your boss is a jerk or whatever, but there's often a core wound that's attached to an emotion that we really want to get clear on. So we all tend to have similar core wounds. So whether that's fear, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, feelings of not being good enough, unhealthy relationship with food, unhealthy relationships with substance. Like there's often a feeling attached to that. So we really want to get clear on the feeling because we all have these same feelings, and then there's just a different movie playing around us that's activating those. So we get to, I want to release fear and call in courage. I want to release anger and call in, what is it that you want to call in once you release it. So we get really clear on that. And then we sit with a medicine called Hape or Rape. And that is ceremonial tobacco, typically prepared by the tribe of the women. And then they grind it up with other herbs. And then it's blown up the nose with a pipe. So we say a prayer together, and then I take the pipe called a tepe, and I blow the medicine into your nose. So you close your throat, and then the medicine goes in. And it's kind of like, people describe it a little bit like it's kind of the closest part of the ceremony that can be a little bit psychedelic, where you kind of just get blasted out and then come back into your body. It can be very grounding. And then I sit with the medicine too. So each one of these steps, I sit with the medicine with you. I'll sit in the Sananga with you. I'll also do the eye drops. So sit with the Hape with you and help just like kind of deepen the intention. And what often comes through in the Hape is visions or clarity. And so you can deepen your intention. So under the anger might actually be guilt, or under the fear might be shame. So sometimes we can get to a deeper layer of the emotion, because the deeper we go with the emotion, the more powerful your ceremony is going to be, the more you're going to get to release. If you just want to pick a surface level intention, like, I just want to release whatever doesn't serve me, well, you're going to get a very surface level intention. If we get like really honest with yourself and really get to it, you're going to have like a deep purge. The medicine can be really strong with you. Yeah.
Amazing. And so when you're doing it with them, does this help you tune in with the person you're sitting, or with the group that you're sitting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can quite often feel what's going on for them. I'll get like visuals, and then after we're done with the medicine, we'll revisit the intention again. And then I'll just kind of pose some questions just to see if, seeing what I noticed, or if anything else came up for them. And they want to, sometimes the intention completely changes after the Hape, where it just gets so much deeper than what was originally said.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, amazing. So now we've set our intention, and we're into the purging section.
Yes, this is where it gets fun. So next, we burn the dots on your body. So it's just essentially like a stick, and then we just go like that. It's not super painful. It's not like you're like branding yourself. You're just essentially removing the top layer of skin. So we can intuitively pick where the dots are. We've been playing with different like Chinese medicine meridians. We had some people after COVID not have their sense of smell. So we were working on like the nose meridian and the lung meridian to try to purge that out.
Did you have people actually get their smell back after sitting?
Yes, 2 people has had that happen.
Oh, amazing. I actually didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah, 2 people have had that. So yeah, there's lots of stuff and then people with long COVID too that are having symptoms like way after, we can really get some stuff moving. So yeah, we say the intention in again, and we activate the medicine with saliva, and then make these little dots, and then we apply the dots to where we burnt the holes. I guess prior to that, we drink an uncomfortable amount of water, so we want to fill that empty stomach up, so that gives it a vessel to purge out whatever you need to remove with. And then we put the dots on your body. And so the dots go on, they stay on for about 20 minutes. So it's not a super long time. It's not like ayahuasca or some of these other plant medicines where it's like, 4 to 12 hours or something. It's quick. And once the dots go on, it can feel like burning. Where they are, it's kind of like stinging. And then you can almost like feel the medicine travel up your body and into your heart. And you can feel your heart pounding and you get really hot. And you kind of just are like, sitting there like, oh, like, when you have the flu and you feel like you have to be sick. That's kind of what it feels like. And then the purge starts coming. And so after the purge comes, you just replace what you've puked up with more water to get more and more out. The more water you drink in the ceremony, the more you will purge. So Brett is like the champion purger. Like he's like, we have these like white buckets, and most people will fill the bucket up like a quarter, like a half a bucket is like, whoa, you had a really good ceremony. Brett has filled up 3 buckets in a single ceremony.
I'm a big water guy and I'm a big water believer. And yeah, when you're feeling that heat, what I've found is sometimes it's just like to keep, and then it helps me dive deeper, and I can actually start to feel with my intention where it feels like there's something attached, and you can feel it kind of deep inside. And so I usually just keep chasing it. Do you find that people if they're able to drink less water or drink more water, their ceremonies will be tougher, or does that have anything to do with it, or what have you found that?
Yeah, sometimes the ceremony can be tough. I know for me, I really struggle with the water. So I struggle getting it down in the ceremony to get more coming up. But yeah, the more you can drink, the more you can release. And sometimes too, like if people hit frog sleep, they really don't puke at all. Sometimes people have not puked at all in the ceremony. And like one person, she took 3 ceremonies before she started actually purging because she was fighting it so hard. And it was almost like she was fighting it. She was like trying too hard to purge. And then it was like her own resistance got in the way. So you don't really know what's going to happen. It's not to say that you will puke, that you will poop, that you will, so many different things can happen in the ceremony.
Yeah.
But it's all perfect.
So and then frog sleep. So frog sleep is basically your system having the central nervous system flush almost and reset.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just kind of gets an overload, and it happened to me actually the last ceremony I sat for the first time, and it's like I could feel it coming where I was like, whoa, it was the first ceremony where I like really wanted to quit. And it was like getting to be too much. And I was like, no, it's not too much. And I'm like, lean into it. And then all of a sudden my body was just like, no. And then I just kind of like, it was like leaning over, and I was still aware. I could hear everybody. I could feel everything. But I was like, my body was just, I was somewhere else within my body. And that's how it felt for me.
Yeah.
I know somebody like, and quite often after too, you get such a nervous system reset that like after like every sensation, like you go shower after, the water feels amazing. The next food is delicious. So you got gifted frog sleep your very first ceremony, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't really, that's why I asked you. It didn't really feel like I was sleeping per se. It did feel like I just kind of was like, just almost just going limp and just kind of, relax. I don't know, sleep. I guess it would be just kind of like taking everything in. Then, because what I find too, a lot of times happens nearing the end when I'm getting that nervous system reset, I'll get the shivers quite severely. But yeah, nothing. It when you shower afterwards, that sensation is amazing.
Yeah, it is really beautiful. And it was like designed, like there's in the article they talk about Pneuma. and to remove all of like the negative energy around you. And so you can be really in tune with nature and with yourself directly following the ceremony. So they would sit hunters with Kambo before they would go out into the jungle to hunt, because after ceremony, they're so in tune with their body. They're so in tune with the forest. They're just really in tune with their surroundings. So any sensation, sound, sight, touch, smell is really heightened after sitting with Kambo.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. And then it said too, from what I know, is that your bucket, then your purge, sometimes can be different colors dependent on what you're working through, or if you're working through even sometimes if it's diseases, or if you're used to be a smoker, or whatever those things may be. Do you find that there are different emotional attachments have different colors and so forth?
Yeah, totally. So like grief shows up, it like bubbles. Liver toxins show up kind of like dark brown, and those can often be attached to anger. You can also see candida, which is like white stringy things, which is super common, especially like with the way a lot of people eat with lots of processed foods and sugars. And then the other thing I've noticed, which I haven't read anywhere, but this is just from my own observation, is that people who smoke often, whether it's tobacco or cannabis, their purges are like thick and dark yellow. So I'm not too sure what exactly that is. How scientifically Kambo works is these peptides, and each frog secretes different peptides, and there's so many they haven't even named all of them, or like every secretion is different. And they go in and they kind of like contract your organs and contract your muscles, and so they kind of stress the body to release whatever is being held in it. And there's a number of ways that you can stress the body to release either like energy or toxins. And you can do that through like heat. So people going into sweat lodges, you can stress the body through, fasting. You can stress the body through cold. You can stress the body through breath. You can stress the body through psychedelic experience, or you can stress the body through Kambo to get the purge. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of get things moving and get this stored energy moving in your body. And Kambo is one of them.
Cool. And then so a lot of people I've chatted to about it, they usually say like that first one's pretty rough. They're feeling pretty tired after, and then second and similar, but depending on the person, and sometimes the third one, sometimes they feel really good after, and it's almost like this introduction and graduation into sitting. Do you find that that's many people's experience, or how do they feel throughout the process?
Yeah, after you can feel like you want to run a marathon, or you can need to sleep for like 2 hours, and it's different every time for every person. The first time I sat, I was just like, felt like I could take over the world. And then the second time all I wanted to do was sleep. I've had people being like, need to sleep for hours after. And then some people just pop out and they're just like, yeah, let's go. So you don't really know what you're going to get, and just because you got something last time doesn't mean that that's what you're going to get next time. And they said it in the article, and this is such a common saying that we're experiencing in Egypt. It's so funny, is Kambo gives you what you need, not what you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you need to be put on your ass, Kambo will put you on your ass. If you need to like get up and go, it'll get up and go. I did see the question there, how often can you sit with Kambo? In the article, they talk about not doing it more than 12 times a year. That's not what I was trained in, is that you can actually sit with Kambo quite often, especially if you're wanting to cure like a chronic disease like rheumatoid arthritis or something inflammatory, or if you've had cancer and you want to get all the toxins out of your body. It's actually recommended that you do between 9 and 12 ceremony, like boom, 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 like not days in a row, but like do like 3 sessions and then wait a little bit, 3 sessions and wait a little bit. So, but the frog medicine, like it tends to, because it's a plant, like it's a spirit guided medicine, like you'll feel the call. It's not like you're like, okay, here's my regimen. No. It's like, you'll know when it's time to sit again.
Yeah. And I guess a situation like that, someone who's battling disease would be a bit different than your average Joe.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that the average person would need to sit with it more than 12 times a year.
No.
That seems quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. The other, that's what I want to ask you. So the other part was, I didn't realize that. So they say the giant tree frog So there's actually several different types of this tree frog. It's not just one type that produces this secretion.
No, it's called the Philomedusa bicolor frog. And I think, and from what I understand, it's just the one kind, but maybe there's some subspecies or something, because it is found in different parts of the Amazon. So maybe there's like different subspecies that produce a secretion, but yeah, that's the only one that I'm aware of.
Okay. Another thing in the article that they dove into that I think is pretty important, and especially when we're seeing this shift, it seems that we're seeing a huge popularity into. I thought it was kind of funny when they're like, if you don't want to use something that's because of the ethics around combo, then you could use ayahuasca, and that's another Amazonian medicine. I thought that was a little humorous, but yeah. So I guess what is your take with, because there seems to be a shift happening where we're getting that these medicines, it's their time to come out of the jungle as well, and almost take part in this shift in consciousness. I had a friend of ours on, Kristen, last week, and we were chatting about just kind of shift in the way doctors are looking at medicine, and kind of like a shift that's happening. And it almost seems that this is happening on a lot of levels with natural medicines. And as this happens, what are ways that you feel that we can still be true to the ethics and still participate in the medicine, I guess?
Yeah, that's such a curious conversation, because there's like, on one part, some people think like, oh, I have to go down to the Amazon to use this medicine and use it in the traditional way. And then it's like, okay, then there's another thought. It's like, oh, is it better to bring the medicine to the people? But then if it's like bringing to them en masse, is it going to be overused and not ethically harvested? So there's a couple different things that I think about that. And I don't know if it's a straight line or a clear answer. But these medicines like are divinely guided. Like if you've ever had the call to sit with ayahuasca, like it's a very it's not just like I want to do it for something to do. And same thing with combo. Like it's not, like I said, it's like not a party. Like this is not something you're just like, oh, I'm going to do it. So I think that these medicines are, like you say, being asked to leave from the Amazon. And on that documentary, that Michael Pollan documentary, where they were talking about the mushrooms, and when they had found that community in Mexico that had the mushrooms, and then, that famous person wrote about them, and then everybody rushed down there to do the mushrooms, and the locals were just like, what the heck? Like it kind of ruined their land, because then there's suddenly all of these North Americans up there looking for healing. And then with them comes, money and garbage and all disrespect, because they don't understand the culture. So if we were to all rush the Amazon, what would happen for the people that live there, their way of life, their traditional practices, their medicine? So, on one aspect, it's like, okay, yeah, going down there is good and experiencing it in its native environment is good. But if we were all to do it, what would happen to those people? So it might be beneficial for some people to go down there and learn the medicine and then bring it back to their community and serve it with reverence and respect.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not a straight line, in my opinion. I think you're right, because that's, you've seen that a few times throughout history where Westerners come over and it becomes quite a big drama.
Yeah, a few times.
So as far as if people were looking, because in no way, we're just here chatting about it too. It's maybe not for everyone. It's not
totally.
So no way trying to push it in any means, just trying to educate and chat about it and bring awareness to it. But if people were, are there any resources as far as finding ethical ways of, what am I trying to say? Like ethical places with the medicine in their area, or is there any resources for that? Like we got this from Third Wave, where Third Wave has to seem to have a lot of good connections, and that's where I've found a lot of sites through, because I know them through the mushroom industry. But
Yeah. So for combo itself, like I get my combo from my friend who's originally from Colombia, and she gets it like directly from the tribe there. So I don't know if there's anything that's organized. One thing to know is combo is totally legal in Canada and the US, but there's no like association or anything. So it's like, I guess just sitting with somebody who has a personal connection to the Amazon and knows where the medicine's coming from, because like anything, anybody can just go out there. And then if you're looking for like Sananga and Hape, there's a really beautiful place called Four Visions, and they have a lot of education on it. And then you can also buy those medicines and sit with it outside of combo. But generally, combo is like, it's pretty new and it's pretty undocumented. So it's kind of the Wild West with it. So I guess just trusting your gut
and getting out there and chatting with local community and stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah. It's a tricky one for sure.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I have some questions. I've been writing stuff down.
Yeah. Let's hear
some questions to hit you with. For one, it seems like you have to have the mindset to want to have this purge, because like you said, if you're just coming into it kind of with like a skepticism, it might not really work. Is that what you're kind of getting at too a little bit?
Yeah, it's a very combo is a very physical medicine. A lot of these other medicines out there, like ayahuasca or iboga or something like that, they're very spiritual. So they kind of like eject you into this other realm of existence. And combo puts you on your knees in your human experience, kind of like no matter what. So iboga and ayahuasca, like I've been in an ayahuasca ceremony and seen people and it has no effect on them because they kind of are like they have resistance to it and they don't surrender to the medicine, where I have not seen combo not work on somebody before.
Okay. And then when you're talking about things where when you said there's an inflammatory issues or for example, cancer or something when you're using, or you said the eye issues, it doesn't work just from the first one. You have to do it multiple times, like you were saying. Now, is there a certain point where you're thinking, okay, after my 12th one, I felt a lot better. After, the 10th time, I noticed some less inflammation with my whatever, is there something like that, or?
I think every person's different, and there's a school of thought out there that really links chronic disease, like Kristen talked about on last week with Brad, is actually emotional trauma stored in the body. And then it manifests as disease. So often with combo, it's like you can purge out the physical symptoms, like the actual inflammation in the body can start to purge. But what really is going to get you long-term healing is getting to that emotional trauma and purging that out. So that, I think, is what you're talking about before, where you're like, the person has to be willing to show up and really be honest with themselves and really release what's no longer serving them. And that's kind of an interesting process to like release what's no longer serving you. It's like something, so say, you have this disease that's crippling in your body, like, rheumatoid arthritis, and you can't move your hands or something like that. It's like that disease does serve you somehow. So you have to identify, it's like, what is this doing for me? How did it get here? And then, have I learned from it and I'm ready to let it go? So that's why it takes like a lot of ceremony to really get honest with yourself and remove the layers.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I was thinking, well, why should they? Well, you mentioned earlier, Brett, an average Joe do this. You both seem very healthy, very, you have a very holistic, very natural. It seems like diet and everything. You're drinking a lot of water, but all these other things that you guys are doing. So where have you seen benefits in your own lives in doing this? What have you noticed? What have you seen improve? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think, for me, something I really noticed, for me, it's been very spiritual as well. As I've kind of unpacked things. It's brought up emotional ties that I had to some things, and that were it's led me to further growth in that sense. And that's kind of because I've been in the natural health for a while now, probably 10 years. So it hasn't been so much physical as it has been emotional for me. But I know for Jay, you've had a lot of physical with having gluten allergy and stuff like that, and some other friends that have experienced it with Jay or with somewhere else. They've said that some of their physical acumen has helped, like they are having inflammation. One thing actually that happened for me is I broke my ankle when I was younger, and it didn't get looked at properly, and they didn't see it broken. So then it had like a bunch of cartilage. I got like the P2P treatment on it, and that helped a lot, but it was still really, and I did some points on my ankle, and that actually it's got a lot of inflammation.
Okay. So the points can, because for example, I have a stupid bursitis thing with my elbow. I hit it a couple years ago, and I've always had this issue where if I, a little pressure on it in certain points. So you're saying you put those burning points, or you're putting them in that spot where there might be an issue. I don't know, the wrist thing. I've been I've done sports my whole life, so I have issues just like you said, Brett. So you put it on your ankle. So if I put it on my elbow for a certain amount of sessions, it might potentially help that bursitis, might help whatever's ailing me. So there's also okay. That's cool.
I would put it on your elbow for sure. And then quite often I would put we'll put a couple on your elbow and then maybe some on your heart or some here or a grounding one or something like that to kind of intuitively heal you. I just saw a question pop up. It says, how long is the total length of the ceremony? And it's about 1.5 to 2 hours per ceremony.
Okay. Now, let's say I find a place to do it here and I do it once. And like you said, maybe I don't have the same reaction, or maybe I purge or whatever, but I feel sleepy or whatever. And 2 days later, what am I feeling? Am I going to want to do it again? Or how do you know if it worked, or how do you know if it didn't work? You just have to have the mindset that it's going to work and you keep going, or?
Yeah, I think it's really important to trust the medicine and really tune into it before you go and really decide okay, I'm going to surrender to this process and be open and curious to see what unfolds for you. I do recommend doing the 3 and committing to the 3. Some people are because if you just do it once and you're I'm going to see how it goes. It's not a comfortable situation. No. So if you
whatever you do, everything you described, I'm why am I interested right now? You know what I mean? But I am. I'm here. I'm still here.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's a terrible situation. Every single step of it is uncomfortable. Okay. But if you're committed to healing, you need to show up and do the work. So I think it's important for yourself, if you do want to do it, commit to those 3 ceremonies, pay for all 3 of them. So there's no backing out. You know what I mean? So you can't be that was really bad. I'm just going to push it off or do it later or something. And it is recommended that all 3 ceremonies be in the same lunar cycle to be initiated with the medicine. So you want to do it all in a month.
That might be part of the beauty of it, because most of these rituals that you do that are healing, self-healing things are always feel good.
Yeah.
But never doesn't feel good. And I feel like that is part of it. You have to be uncomfortable in order to change. You know what I mean? And I think that is something that this is the first time I've heard of anything like that. Most of the time you go, I'm gonna go get a massage, I'm gonna go get this done, I'm gonna get some electrotherapy stuff on my wrist, whatever this stuff that's gonna help me, it's gonna feel good. But this doesn't feel good at all. So you have to be dedicated to it. And I think in a way that helps. And I don't know, I haven't done it, but it seems like that helps.
Yeah, that's a really great observation. So sometimes our greatest healing comes from illuminating our shadow, which is uncomfortable to go in there. It's uncomfortable to go into the fear and the pain. But that's where our greatest gifts are. And that actually will give you more joy and more ease than it will be just going for a massage and taking that moment and making yourself feel better all the time, because you're still, it's like plucking gray hairs. You want to get to the root of the problem, which you're going to have to go through the fire to get there. And then once you clear that, the gem on the other side is so beautiful and so profound and so worth it.
Okay, I have a few more questions if we have some time, Brad. I don't know if I interrupted you in any way.
No, shoot, man, shoot.
Okay, so Jay, you do these and you do the ceremonies, but how often do you yourself do them, the ceremony itself? Are you doing it once a month, like they're saying, or are you doing it less?
For myself personally?
Yes.
Yeah, I just do it when I feel called. So the last time I think I sat was about a month ago. And but I'm starting to feel the call again. I'm going to sit with ayahuasca at the end of the month. So I'll probably sit with combo before I go to the ayahuasca ceremony.
Okay. Yeah. And so you mentioned that if I were to do it, you'd want to dedicate or commit to 3 sessions, right?
Yeah.
My first session, let's say I do it tomorrow. When do I do the next session? How long do I wait?
You can do them 3 days in a row, but you want to complete them within 30 days.
Within 30 days. So I'd have, so let's say I give myself a week, I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That would be what, okay.
Yeah, Keegs, I think
and it is quite good to plan,
what'd you say, Brett?
Yeah, so now you're gonna come here.
Said maybe you'll have to come down here and come check it out.
Yeah, I might have to, because it's right from the beginning. I'm like, what am I even listening to? Because I just saw the article briefly. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just, I'm gonna come on, I'll listen when I get on. And I'm sitting here like purging. We're talking about throwing up. We're talking about shitting. We're talking about putting eye drops in it. It's gonna burn. It's like it's gonna be a terrible thing. And then you keep talking about it. And then you guys are living proof of doing it and how it's helped your ankle, how it's helped you with your issues, Jay. And so I love hearing people's firsthand accounts of everything. So, now I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah. Well, and what's super fascinating is the COVID stuff too, right? Like the people who can smell, and that means it's getting into those deep parts of the membrane in the cell, and it's actually pulling that out and purging that, right? Which is pretty fascinating. And then Jay, you said something about doing it before ayahuasca. It said in the article as well, like this can be used within those ceremonies as well. So why does that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, it can just get some of the emotional stuff out of the way before you sit in ayahuasca ceremony. So like we did have a woman come sit, and for the first time after her second ceremony has had anxiety and suicide thoughts for almost her whole life, and woke up in the morning without that pit in her stomach for the first time. So it can often move some of the layers out so that when you go into ayahuasca ceremony, that she doesn't have to do that, because ayahuasca is a really strong medicine, and she'll like aggressively move those things out of the way for you so she can get to it. And so your ceremony can get to the root a lot easier. So it's just not only the physical effects, but it's the emotional effects of the combo that you can really go deep with.
I had another question too about I think it's Sananga.
Sananga,
right?
yeah.
So you mentioned the dieta. Is that something that you were putting? Those are the eye drops, right?
Yeah, so those are the eye drops, and me and a friend, we both. I had an incident when in my early 20s where I got jumped actually, and it was like a whole thing. But but I had retina scarring, so it's said to help with some of that. It's a very antibacterial root, if I understand correctly. I think Jay. Hey, and then so another friend, she dealt with. She had an eye laser go bad, so she was. Yeah, so she was been dealing with that and her retina issues as well. So we decided to do this 21-day dieta, and it was super powerful, man. Yeah.
Is that separate from the ceremony, or is that if you do the ceremony, are you getting the Sananga as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do the Sananga in the ceremony. So you do Sananga, Hape, and then combo. So you actually sit with 3 medicines. The dieta that Brett did was 21 days of Sananga in a row.
Only Sananga though, not you weren't purging yourself every day for just a Sananga. All right. They say that turned into almost quasi bulimia at that point, but you do it 21 days in a row.
Yeah, no.
I was curious about that. So and you saw improvements, and your friend saw improvements. So that's really cool. Is that hard to get, those Sananga drops?
No, you can just get them on a website called 4 Visions, and they'll ship them right to you. You just have to keep them in the fridge. And I mean, it's intense. Like I would recommend having somebody drop you with Sananga the first time, because there's something on. But like it's like it burns. Like nothing I can say describes how much, like somebody commented, like it burns like so bad. And so like the first time you go to drop yourself, you'll be like, oh my God, like it's like intense. But then the more and more you sit with the medicine, you can.
Do you lose vision, or is it just burns? You have to keep your eyes closed. You're kind of you don't touch your eyes. How does that work?
There's no your eyes.
Yeah, you just can't open your eyes. It's super interesting because it's like it forces you to go inward, and then it forces, so. And if you won't let go, it's not a good time.
Yeah, so it's another one of those things. You have to have the pain before you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's really cool because you have to force yourself to calm down. You have to force yourself. Okay, I know it hurts, but at the end of this, it's going to be better off, and so that's kind of a cool thing too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no getting out of it. And the other cool thing as a entry point for ceremony, you show up and we all have lives, this is going on. You're worried about your car or whatever it is that you're worried about. That medicine causes you to leave it. There's nowhere to go but here. And so you can really show up and be present for the next part of your ceremony.
And the people you do the ceremony with, I'm sure you're going to get closer with them because you're all literally throwing up and, doing these things that usually you don't do in front of people all together. So that probably helps too with camaraderie. If you had a whole family or, somebody coming in and doing it together, I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd get my dad to do it, but
yeah, I actually I sat with a buddy, one of my close friends, and it was really definitely brought us a lot closer, and it was a really combative experience for sure.
Okay. I had one last question here. It was well, actually 2 more. One is the first person that ever had this, the frog, venom, or whatever you want to call it, the medicine. What do you the first person they ever did, they're like, wow, that really was terrible, let's do it again. How do you think that went down?
Yeah, I know, it's so interesting. I think the same thing, about ayahuasca, because ayahuasca is a vine and a leaf, and then they separate, they're non-psychoactive, and then they boil them down and put them together, and then suddenly they have these psychedelic effects. And so the story is that hape is considered the grandfather medicine, so that's the ceremonial tobacco, and you can blow hape over and over, and you actually get a psychedelic experience. And so it was through hape ceremony where the plant medicine guided them to go into the Amazon and take these plants and put them together. And it was through ayahuasca ceremony where they were guided on how to collect and serve combo. So it was from another plant spirit medicine that it was discovered. Mm-hmm.
And then my last question, Jay, have you ever been down to South America and to Colombia? Do you plan on it? I know you were talking about, people could do that, they can't do it, but I know you're really into it and you have a friend down there. Have you thought about going down?
100%. Actually, Brett and I both want to go and spend time and just learn the wisdom, not go down there being entitled or being like, I want to learn from you, but just see what they have to offer, and just show up in service. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a really cool experience.
And to touch quickly on, they did a nice little history in this article here too. It sounded like the myth or the legend was that the medicine shaman or teacher couldn't figure out how to fix his tribe, and he got called to the frog, and then he did frog secretion, and that's what introduced the frog to the tribe or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
That is the story, but they've also been using it since before written history. So it's a really interesting practice that I don't even think we really understand yet. And the tribes, have a lot more wisdom, and I'm sure they'll start being shared over time when they're ready.
Totally.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. That was a really, really cool interview today. It's really interesting stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. It's kind of interesting, all these medicines out there that can help people.
Yeah. And the cool thing is there's no pharmaceuticals involved. And that's what's really important, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it can't go through the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. Because it can't be farmed. So
yeah, and that's something. Did we touch on that? We touched on how you can't bring the frog out of the rainforest or else.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I just like that because, a lot of times you go to a doctor's office, they say, all right, we're going to give you this medicine. You're going to take this for the rest of your life, or you're going to take this for 2 years. And it's just, I don't do that stuff. I don't want to do that stuff. And I hate when people have to. I'm always for naturally curing what you have, if you have, because then it takes dedication. When you take a pill, you can keep doing what you were doing before. But if you really dedicate your life to, okay, I have something wrong with me, I need to fix it. I'm going to fix it myself, and I'm going to do this the rest of my life, and I'm going to be better. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to live better. I'm going to be more happy. If you take a pill, you can keep doing whatever you're doing, and that's your way out. And I don't like that.
Yeah. And I think that's why we see so many people just kind of bumping up against the wall right now too, right? Because you're like, it gets you that, but it'll only take you here. It'll never get you here. It won't take you here, but you only get to stay here. And I think people are kind of done being there, and that's what we're seeing. And to have these resources and intention around it, it's kind of magic what's kind of coming.
Nice.
Sweet.
I don't think we have any other questions. Adam Gubal's Twitch, the one that said he did Sananga once, burns like hell. That was Adam. He just got off the plane. He's tuned in real quick, but he did say he did it once.
I was wondering if that was Adam because I remember he mentioned it and he said it burned like hell. So
I'm curious about it. I definitely want to. I think I should. If I ever get up that way, I'm definitely doing getting 3 sessions in.
Yeah, man, you got to come hang out at the Roundhouse and
that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be honored to serve you. Maybe you guys can sit together.
Yeah. Brett, if you're down to do it, maybe we'll get Adam and my brother up there too, and then have a whole thing.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm here for that for sure. Nice. Yeah, it's so beautiful seeing all the men show up too to do this medicine. Quite often in the spiritual community, you can see it's a lot of women, but for some reason, combo men seem to be really into it. So I think that's really great.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. Brett, do you have anything else?
No, that's it, man. Thanks so much, Jay, for coming on and educating us around combo, and it's a pleasure having you. And thank you everyone tuning in, and we'll catch you next Friday.
We're gonna raid over to somebody. I'm gonna just see who we can raid. Looks like Sammy Snakes. I will just raid over to him. So everyone in the Goo crew just say, Goo raid, and we'll go over there. We have a good amount of people watching. Once I get the raid on, we'll be done here, Brett, and then we can we'll end the stream. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is gonna go up on YouTube probably by tomorrow, and then I'll give you a copy of that as well, Brett and Jay. But for now, see you on the next one.
All right, guys. Peace.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.